You know what it is.
Who are you?
I'm ParlayHunter. Who are you?
LifeofDGreen, man. Good gosh, this guy doesn't even know who the fuck he is. Wake your ass up.
All right.
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. You want to explain this Raven shirt first of all, man?
Yeah. Let's talk about the Ravens real quick before we get into this draft segment. Hey,
Right.
Lamar, Ravens do right by Lamar. We've gone out, we've done our podcast, we've done specials about this stuff. Lamar, man, we want you to get the most money that you can possibly get, and we want Baltimore to do right by you, and they need to give you your money, and then as well, they need to go and sign D-Hop. They just signed OBJ. That's one step in the right direction. Let's go get D-Hop. Let's go re-sign Lamar, and let's get this franchise going. Baltimore, come on now.
Just sign Lamar. Just sign Lamar. No need for D-Hop. They have good receivers that they can develop. It's a good draft. I wouldn't waste money signing a veteran that large. You already gave Odell $18 million. Wouldn't do that. But they should sign Lamar after Jalen Hurts did receive his money. Shout out to Jalen Hurts, signing the biggest NFL contract thus far of 2023, in history, with $255 million, I believe, over 4 years, I believe, with about 179, 180 guaranteed. It's a lot of money, more than I could probably fill this whole room up with. But shout out to Lamar, man. OBJ, shout out to O signed for 18 with some incentives in there, which is crazy, bro. That I was like, the level of disrespect. So I think I'm expecting big things from O. Stays healthy. They sign Lamar. Big deal. Now on to big and better things. We are entering draft week, my friend. 2023 NFL draft going down Kansas City, Missouri, Thursday, April 27th. I will be probably screaming off the roads in my rental car to get in here and watch it and stuff like that. But it's very intriguing. As always, we get excited about this time of year. What is the most exciting thing to you as you see this draft this year, as far as any position that stands out? We know quarterbacks always play a big role. What's the most intriguing factor to you, 2023 NFL draft?
The mystery this year, we don't know. We don't even know who's going to go first overall. We really don't. So the mystery is awesome. I think there's a lot of, I guess about 90% of guys who get drafted in the first round end up being busts anyway. But we are so, preoccupied on trying to figure out who's going to go where, who's going to get drafted, where, for what reason, what's the reason behind it. So, this draft special, what we're going to talk about, we're going to briefly go through the first 15 picks.
And this is the first annual Bro mock draft, if you would say.
It is, but we're not. Yeah, I mean, we're going to.
But it's not your normal format.
It's not, because we're going to try to talk about who's going to be a surprising pick if they're still available. I mean, some of these things, I think that people try to go for the exact, person at the exact spot. That's a little too hard. I think probably every team also is thinking, hey, if, they probably got a list of guys, like, 5 guys, because if their guy gets drafted, they have to go with plan B. So, that's kind of what our mock draft is going to be behind. If the guy is still there, they will go for that guy. And I got to say, man, even, doing this writing this stuff down, mock drafting and whatnot, there's some shocking things that I ended up coming to conclusion with, which I think, is going to happen. But I do think it makes sense. And hey, I mean, everyone's surprised on draft night, right?
Oh, for sure.
So if I have a crazy mock draft and people say, Hillemeyer, you're stupid, like, you need to stop thinking about football and
you're a fucking degenerate piece of shit.
Yes, if they call me a piece of shit, low IQ, douchebag, homeless, off, just leave. Like, don't even come back. Don't ever show your face on screen again. If that's what they say, that's okay, because this is mock draft season. That's what happens.
Oh, I mean, I respect.
Mel Kiper, the best of the best, has had some terrible and some of the worst.
Oh, for sure. I have a very just, me and Mel have had differences in the past. I sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Like this year, I just literally was watching on my TV earlier, and he was going through some things, and I was just like, what intrigues me this year is the mystery as well, but. It starts with the quarterback. You got to find good quarterback play. And there's great quarterback play. But the thing that I'm not sold on, and please hear me out, just because he's the only Caucasian fella in the top 3-4 quarterbacks. I'm just not sold on this Will Levis thing. And I just don't know, man. And lately, the reports and things that have been coming out is like, does Houston take Will Levis now at 2 and Bryce Young goes to 1 to the Panthers? And I'm like, dude, there's nowhere on anybody's board should Will Levis be higher than Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. Nowhere.
Absolutely not. And I think that watching his interview process, it's funny because like you can't help it, but you judge these guys on what they say and just like the way that they act, and like, are they going to be a professional? How are they going to fit in with the locker room? I mean, I think if your ability does all the talking for you, that's great. But if you're talking before you even show your ability on the NFL field, then, you have something to prove. And if you can't back it up, I mean, it's going to be tough to make it in the NFL. You're just making it that much harder on yourself. So personally, do I respect and like Will Levis? No. Do I like him? No. Would I befriend him on Facebook? No, I would. I like. There's just this guy. I don't really like this guy personally. Do I think he's gonna fit in the NFL?
What personal vendetta do you really have against him? Like, man.
Well, I'll tell you. Do you want to start with Will Levis, because I got him falling on my draft, out of the top 10? Should we start there?
I mean, let's just go in order. Let's start with the number 1 pick.
Okay.
So we'll go back and forth popcorn, see if we line up with what we both are going with, see where we go. Carolina Panthers at number 1. Who are you thinking? Like, this is a toss-up to me, but of late, where I'll explain mine. I'll let you go, and then I'll explain my case.
All right. Well, I think it's going to Bryce Young. And I don't know if Bryce Young is the best quarterback in the draft. It could be CJ Stroud. But I think that Bryce Young, it just seems that after I believe I saw after he visited Carolina, he shut down all the other visits. And they probably told him, we're drafting you number 1. I think Young probably... I think is going to have the highest ceiling, out of, this draft and in quarterbacks, especially in this draft. So, yeah, I think it goes to Bryce Young, maybe the best quarterback in the draft. What do you think?
I think my heart says CJ Stroud, but my mind says Bryce Young. I just think you can't overpass Bryce Young, his ability, who he is. For so long, I thought Carolina was going to take CJ, and there's still a chance that they could. This is
Are you saying that, though, because you think CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in the draft?
I think CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in the draft. I do. I think he's the number 1 quarterback in the draft, by far, by a landslide. I just think potentially wise, he fits a little bit better than what Bryce would to me in the NFL, even though Bryce fits into the mold of this last 10-year decade of quarterbacks undersized. So, quote unquote, I'm not dogging his size. I'm not coming at it because I play quarterback. I thought had I been in this generation, I'd probably still be playing. I was a damn good quarterback myself. But anyways, I think that CJ Stroud is just a little bit better, but I just think Carolina can't pass on the fact of this dude being a Heisman Trophy winner. The image, the buzz, and of lately, the buzz has been triggering back into his favor about just his pinpoint accuracy, in which Bryce Young has. Let's not get that twisted.
Should we touch on the size of Bryce Young?
I mean, not really, though, because this is the thing. We've seen this now every year for the last 5 years. You can say Kyler Murray, you can say Baker Mayfield, you can say Drew Brees, you can say the list goes on, and every year there's going to be somebody.
Okay, but what about Johnny Manziel?
But Johnny Manziel didn't play from the pocket like Bryce Young, nor did he. Johnny Manziel lived on creating. And
it wouldn't be a draft. It wouldn't be a mock draft without bringing up Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, man. I mean, Johnny Football, one of my favorite players of all time, college football wise. But
oh wow,
for real, the dude was a star. Like
he was amazing. Actually, he was amazing. I mean, like watching him play college football. That was like watching a video game character.
The comparison, I didn't like Tebow at the time, but I grew to like Tebow because my spirit had to get right. How can I go against a man of God? Tebow's a dog.
Tebow's the man.
Tebow's my dog too, bro. People hated on Tebow just because of who he was, and that's just hating on God. But I'm not gonna go there. No God.
They love to hate.
They love to hate, but I'm saying even Tebow and Johnny Football were different. Like even Tebow had a little bit more structure in Urban Meyer's offense.
I think Johnny might have had a better career on a different team.
Maybe, but I'm just saying Johnny's the only player for me that I've ever seen win a Heisman and do that by creating most of his offense. He had a guy in the name of Mike Evans who will be a future Hall of Famer that just went up and got the ball, and it was just like it was too easy for him. But
real quick though, real quick, just about that. How important is it that a guy goes to the right team? You know,
I mean, it's very. I think it's very because the thing is, it's just more so like our show is called BroBroBets. The probability of this dude's career being good on a second team is slim if he doesn't go to the right team in the first. Via my example, Sam Darnold. Look at Sam Darnold's career. Yeah. Like now, had Sam Darnold went to the right team, he might be a different story.
He might be starting for the Niners next year.
I mean, he might be just the backup. I'm thinking, see, we're getting off course here. Now,
I know. But Brock Purdy,
he might be the backup to Brock Purdy because I think Trey Lance is out in a trade. But that's a whole nother topic.
But Brock Purdy might be out for the year. His elbow.
No, he'll be healthy.
But as we go through this mock draft, if I say anybody or you say anybody that you think goes to a certain situation that you don't believe is the best situation and could hinder or ruin their career, I think we should definitely state that. Let's go on to number 2. Houston. I got Willie Anderson, the best edge rusher, I think, in the draft. I think all the speculation, there's a lot of good edge rushers in the draft, but I think that once people start digging, they try to find reasons why somebody is better than the other person. I think you got to go back to the basics. Will Anderson has been the best edge rusher in the draft for over a year, and you could have just told me that a year ago. So I think that Houston goes with Will Anderson. I think they rock with Davis Mills at quarterback for another year. They'd probably get a quarterback next year in the draft. D'Amico Ryan's the head coach there, and I think he's going to work real well with Will Anderson. And I think that, that offense, I think it will be better this year. Pierce was pretty good, and then Nico, and I don't know if John Mitchell will be back, maybe soon, at end of the year or something. I don't know. But anyway, I think they'll be all right. Hopefully they're better than they are this year. But yeah, I got Willie Anderson.
Sounds good. I like that pick. The reason why I like Will Anderson is because the mind of the head coach, D'Amico Ryans. I believe that D'Amico Ryans is somebody that is going to be defensive minded with this first pick. There's been speculations of what they're going to do. Quarterback, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, blah, blah, blah. Will Anderson is the best player available. This team needs to start with the mindset of the new coach that they brought in, which is a defensive mind. I like Will Anderson to go here.
All right. So number 3, Arizona. You know what? There's been all this talks about Budda Baker leaving, going to Philadelphia this week. Obviously, if the defense takes a hit there, I think they go defense and they go with the next best edge rusher in the draft in Tyree Wilson.
I sort of like that pick, but I don't think Tyree Wilson is. This is Will Anderson. This is Tyree Wilson. Look at the gap. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I think that I've heard talks this week, and I think this is where we get our first trade. I think we get our first trade here with a team that maybe even is looking to take a chance higher on Levis or Richardson or even a CJ Stroud right here. Like whoever. Like this could be the Raiders. This could be Houston trading with Arizona up to get that 4th pick and go back to back right there and gaining some more ground later in the draft. But I think Arizona trades this pick away, and with that being trade, I don't know who sits in that slot and takes the next pick. But I would say if it is, I would say this would be the right time for a team like even Washington, if they want to go get a quarterback, to come up and do that, or Las Vegas. So right here, I think this is a part where if I'm to be sure, if it's a team that needs a quarterback, this is a part where I would say CJ Stroud, then Will Levis goes, and then thirdly, Anthony Richardson. If not, and the Arizona keeps that pick, I would agree with you. I'm just not sold on Tyreek.
All right.
Tyreek Wilson. So.
And like you said about the gap, just something for other people to think about. If the gap is that much between Tyree Wilson, maybe a different player, maybe a different superstar player goes to Arizona there. Number 4, I see Indianapolis getting a steal with CJ Stroud. Everyone's saying that, they might go with Levis because Stroud won't be there. Well, I think they get a steal and possibly the best quarterback and player in the draft in CJ Stroud right there at number 4. All this talk about him getting, they did some test or whatever. He got a bad score on it. I think that's BS. Every year teams come out with tests. The Falcons had like an athletic test a couple years ago that they created, and they've been sucking ever since. So I think that, CJ Stroud, possibly the best quarterback in the draft, they get a steal there at number 4 with Indianapolis.
Here is where it gets complicated. So now, like I said, I think that Arizona trades that pick, and that could be a potential quarterback pick or whatever. Or if it does stay with Tyreek Wilson and Arizona takes Tyreek Wilson, let's just speak about that scenario. I think here at number 4 is where Indianapolis Colts draft Will Levis. I think this is where Will Levis goes. I don't think CJ Stroud doesn't go to Indianapolis only because I don't think it's got to fit. It's a niche, it's a culture, it's all that. So right here, I believe this is where Indianapolis makes that bid for Will Levis. They've spoken high about him. I can see this because quarterbacks of the past, Aaron Rodgers, there's been certain quarterbacks that didn't get drafted high that we already knew was talentedly better than other quarterbacks and things like here. And this is where a situation where CJ Stroud does not slip out of the first 15 picks, but it's going to feel like he's slipping out of the fucking first 4 rounds with what goes on in my eyes and what I think. And the only reason why I feel like he's slipping is not because of talent or ability or test scores or anything like you just said, but just because of feel and team needs. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Does Houston trade up? Because I think overall, I think Houston is the spot where he's going to end up. I just don't know where they trade up to get him.
All right. Number 5, I got Seattle going with Gonzalez, the cornerback. That I just think that it adds more depth to their defense. They get better there, and that's probably their team need right now. They got Geno and Kenneth Walker, and I mean, if you need a quarterback for the future, I don't think you do it this year. I think you do it next year. So I think they go defense, and they go with the best corner in the draft in Gonzalez. I mean, maybe not the best. Maybe he's right there with Joey Porter, but I think that's what they go with.
This is where I had Tyreek Wilson going right here. So I think that's where he'll go if Arizona trades them picks. The reason why I don't say Gonzalez, a little bit tad bit early for me. They have a dominant corner in blanking on my dog's name now. Geez, we have to look this up. Give us some Jeopardy music while we look this up.
Here's a prop that I brought for the podcast.
Tyreek Woolen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they got him on one end and they have Brown on the other. So I don't think that they'll take Gonzalez here. I do like Gonzalez. I think he is the best corner. He's way more technically sound to me than Witherspoon from Illinois. I like Gonzalez as number CB1. I like Tyreek Wilson going here. You mentioned a little bit about Seattle and quarterback. They just paid Geno $500,000. I would not even think about a quarterback with Seattle for the next 2 years. I think Geno is going to keep them very relevant in the NFC West, and I think Tyreek Wilson goes at number 5 to Seattle.
A lot of good defensive backs coming out of Seattle for the last decade.
Oh yeah, and then healthy Jamal Adams coming back with Tyree Woolen,
and they
Bobby Wagner back over there.
Yeah, the guys, they move around, they go to different teams, but Seattle seems to be producing so many good corners and safeties. Anyway, going on to number 6, I got a steal in the draft. Detroit getting Jalen Carter, possibly the best player in the draft. And I think that adds so much strength to their defense. They're a good team. They were in the news this week about some players and suspensions with the gambling, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be back by week 5, week 6. I think that Jalen Carter being added to that defensive line, I think that just makes things so solid there.
I like Christian Gonzalez here. Number 1 corner, 6'1", 197, about 200 pounds. Guy is smooth as butter. This dude, he can do anything, breaks in and out of his breaks, high points, got good ball skills, just overall great production. I think they take him with the departure of the former overall, who I thought was going to be a legendary name for them, Jeff Okudah. Jeff Okudah just couldn't stay healthy. And I think Jeff Okudah found a great home in Atlanta next to AJ Terrell. Shout out to my boy Oliver Davis, who trains both of them guys. And so I think that
who's the other guy on there on the other
AJ Terrell. AJ Terrell.
No, for Detroit.
Other corner?
Yeah, because they had a corner, take his place. That was pretty good.
I mean, I don't know necessarily if that guy was either all pro or a pro bowler. You could look that one up, but Jeff Okudah he wasn't that he was inconsistent. This was his best year. I thought Detroit was happy with him after this year, being that he came off of an ACL injury, or no, not an ACL, Achilles. And so him coming back off that, he, to me, played very good in a lot of games that I watched, but they let him go. And I think this is where they go get Christian Gonzalez. Plays for them, fits in that role perfect, scheme-wise, everything. I think that this dude will be a household name. He's going to have some battles in that NFC North going against, I'm about to say Tank. Shout out to Tank Davis tonight. Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, but shout out to Tank. But I think he's going to have some battles with Jay Jets. You got DJ Moore in Chicago now. Ain't no telling who the Packers going to get at receiver, but, he's going to have some good battles.
No, I think, they could go corner here because of the whole Okudah stuff. I was thinking of the guys that they added. They had Gardner Johnson, but he just got suspended.
Oh, Gardner Johnson, yeah, but Gardner Johnson is more of a nickel. This is a overall prime for prime outside. This is your corner you put on the island. Let him go against their best receiver.
And then they have Joseph Kirby.
Yeah, no, it was Okudah, bro. It was Okudah.
But okay, so Vegas coming up next. I don't have anything for Vegas. I'm not even gonna speculate. You got anything at number 7 for Vegas?
This is an interesting pick for me. I do like Jalen Carter here, but if it so happens that Anthony Richardson falls to here, I did play with Anthony Richardson with the Raiders in our Madden franchise.
I thought about that.
But I think Anthony Richardson goes here.
Yeah. I thought about that too. Yeah, I mean Garoppolo.
It's a project for Josh McDaniels, but I think it's a good project. Jimmy signing gives him time to, kind of do what they did in 49ers. Trey Lance sit, Jimmy Garoppolo starts. You know what you're going to get out of Jimmy. He's going to do what he does, which is great. It's good production. Now they're going to need more as far as around the whole team to become a great playoff team, but they'll win 7-8 games. They'll win 7-8 games with Jimmy.
It's hard to say with Vegas.
But I like Anthony Richardson to go here. I think this is a good fit to learn under Josh McDaniels. I think longevity-wise, if he develops in a couple years, this is where he could go. So I like Anthony Richardson here.
Okay. Number 8, I got Atlanta. And this might be a reach, but we've had guys come out say, hey, this guy's the best player in the draft. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's the only guy I've heard about, people are saying he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Bijan Robinson at number 8 to Atlanta. And I know it doesn't happen in 2023. Running backs go that high. But I think that you get B-Rob right here. I think that it could be very good for Atlanta. I feel like it could be a franchise-changing decision to get Bijan Robinson at number 8.
You know what? This whole time we didn't really agree on much, but I like that pick right there.
Wow, he likes the pick.
I like Bijan Robinson there. And the only reason I agree with you fully, totality, that I think Atlanta needs another spark in that offense, and this gives them that. Now they have a great quarterback in Desmond Ridder, who they're looking to, be the next guy after Mariota. You still have Drake London. You have Kyle Pitts. Didn't they just get somebody else too?
Well, no, Ridley left.
They
got Quentin. They have Cordell Patterson, I think, still.
Cordell Patterson, but yeah, you can even get a receiver later because the receiver class is pretty deep. But I like Bijan Robinson here. It gives them, a 1-2-3. Got a good quarterback, got a good tight end. You got 2 options: your tight end and your receiver, and then you got a good running back. I think
and you got to think about next year's draft. And if you have a pick, that's not it's out of the top 5, and you have a quarterback in Ritter, are the guys left? What is the risk and reward for taking a chance with Ritter or taking a chance with the other 2 guys that I have left in mind? You don't have Richardson left, but I have Richardson left. But I got Richardson going somewhere else in a few more picks. But it's like, you got to think about, okay, risk reward. Do I take a chance on this guy when I already have Ritter? And then next year we have a draft full of, some really talented quarterbacks. So we'll just go with that. So who do you have at 8 going with Atlanta? Or do you want to just...
I said Bijan.
Okay, you got Bijan. All right, cool. So 9, Chicago. I'm going to skip over that. You got anything to say about Chicago at 9?
Easy. They have to protect Justin Fields, and the easiest pick here is Peter Skoranek from Northwestern. I like this dude. He's a local kid, being that he played for Northwestern in Evanston. He's going to be, they've tried a couple of O-line in the last couple of years that have taken some time to develop. This dude right here will be Justin's left tackle, right tackle. He's going to build that wall for him, and this is what the Bears need. They have to go get O-line to protect. They went and got DJ Moore. For me, Jalen Carter's still out there for me. So this could be a fit because this is where originally, before the Bears even traded that pick, it was going to be Jalen Carter number 1. So do they do that? They could possibly do that. I like him there too, but I think you go O-line here. You go O-line, and Jalen Carter continues to slip into the first round. And that's because of his efforts. I mean, that's because of his condition, not because of his talent, just because when you're looking at guys in the league, I love what the league's doing as far as respecting players who work hard and are dedicated, and mindset is on straight and narrow. I could give a damn about a lot of players with a lot of upside and talent. There's only a few players, NFL, NBA wise, that was God-given talent that may have seemed that as if they weren't as hard workers as others. AI, for instance, Randy Moss was accused of a lot of things like that. Certain players, even Tyrann Mathieu, had great ability where it's just like this dude shows up on Sundays and Saturdays and can play. But for me, with Jalen Carter being the position and to be dominant, and the guys that I've seen come of late, the Aaron Donalds of the world, the Grady Jarrett's, like, dude, you got to be in shape. You're coming from Georgia, back-to-back national champion, and you're not in shape and you're not showing hard work, man, let them continue to slide. On the 10, Philadelphia Eagles. Who you like here?
I like with Philly letting go of some defensive backs this year. I think Joey Porter Jr. falls down here to 10 with Philly, and I think it helps out their defensive backfield. They fill a hole that they had a lot of good DBs, so they didn't really have a hole, but it got them to the Super Bowl. So you go with Joey Porter Jr. here. I think you get a big playmaker and some good, defensive back help that could bring you to another Super Bowl.
I like Brian Branch here from Bama. I like the safety here. He's going to come back and fill that role that CJ Gardner did. They got to solidify 2 corners on the outside. There's no reason to go get Joey. They re-signed Darius Slay. They still got James Bradbury. They're believing in them guys, and them guys played fairly well for most of the year outside of Bradbury's play in the Super Bowl. As we know, we can go back on that. But I like Brian Branch here to come in and play that role. They wanted CJ Gardner to play at a better level. I like his instincts, and I like his IQ coming from Bama. And the only reason why I say a better level is because they're getting him longer now. Obviously, CJ Gardner's not there, not dissing CJ Gardner's ability and talent. I just think they played him a little bit out of pocket being a high safety. Brian Branch is a little bit more used to playing a high safety role that's a little bit different than being down in the nick like CJ Gardner did with he did that more so with the Saints rather than the Eagles. He was high safety, and he didn't do that since he played college ball in the Gators. So I like Brian Branch here because he's had equal time at high safety and playing nickel, and I think it'll just be a perfect role for the Eagles. So we are going on to number 11,
Tennessee
Titans.
And today, we got today there was some news that came out about Tannehill and Derrick Henry being on the trade block for Tennessee. This is why I think Tennessee goes with Anthony Richardson at 11. And we maybe see him. I don't think Malik is going to play out. It doesn't seem like he's going to be the guy for them, even if they move on from Tannehill. So I think they get Anthony Richardson, and that's the face of the franchise, Anthony Richardson for Tennessee.
Man, you made me. I thought I was just eating a Sour Patch Kid for a second, man. You went way left there. Sometimes you do that. You look like Abe Lincoln right now when you look at a glance of you, but I don't like that. Obviously, Richardson's off my board. I think they go here. I like Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle from Ohio State. I like him, regardless of whoever plays quarterback. They're going to need O-line. They've had some issues. Taylor Lewan staying healthy, some issues around. So they continue to need to. Whenever I always say push comes to shove, you always go get O-line. O-line is always a good pick to go do here. So I like them there at 11.
Not as exciting to talk about.
No, it's not. I mean, people don't like the O-line, but we love the O-line here.
Yeah, O-line love, definitely. 12 at Houston. I'm just gonna skip past it. You want to say anything about Houston at 12 here?
This is the pick. Now, this is where if you count my board, quarterbacks off was Bryce Young. I said Will Levis will go to Indianapolis because of fit, and then I said Anthony Richardson to Las Vegas. CJ Stroud slides all the way down to 12, and this has been the guy that Houston wants, and they go get him right here. And it's crazy. They're more happier with this pick because where they get him at and just the battle of what he went through to get to that point. And I can really see this play out, everybody. Everybody doesn't believe me. I can see this play out.
Well, I know, just like how you don't
know the face of Indianapolis. I know what that owner wants that thing to look like in Indianapolis, and those great Americans of Indiana in Indianapolis. I know what they
I think you want to say something. I think there's something.
I know what they want to see there. I don't want to say nothing. I know what they want to see there. And with that, I don't see CJ Stroud going to Las Vegas either, because he's more of a ready now, and Vegas would take a player that they can develop under Jimmy Garoppolo. So the next place he could go and play right away, and it falls right to where they want it. And the identity too, if you think about who was the former quarterback that just played for Houston and is now with the Cleveland Browns, and who resembles you the most of that quarterback out of these quarterbacks in this draft, I would say CJ Stroud. So at number 12, CJ Stroud falls all the way out of the top 10, but this is still a great pick. You pair him up with Will Anderson. Houston won the draft right there to me. Easy.
So number 13 now, we got the Jets. And I heard someone speculate about this. I don't know why, but this is a very strange. You just said I was going left on the last pick. I think this could be very strange. I think there's some trading that goes around along with this pick. I think that Zach Wilson gets moved maybe for very cheap. And you lose. I mean, for what you paid for him, you definitely lose out on that deal. I think the Jets might grab Will Levis here. And this draft has a little bit of weird, how things happen. Some things play out, and it's kind of funny how life works. The Jets get a backup quarterback with Aaron Rodgers and do exactly what Green Bay did to him when they drafted Jordan Love. But Rodgers is older and wiser now, and he knows what it means. So
we're still talking about Rodgers going to the Jets, and it's still unofficial that he's even gonna be there. We haven't even had an official mark of where he's gonna be.
Yeah. So I don't know. I got that going right there. But you got anything for the Jets?
I mean, I like your potential trade here. I do. I think this is another trade situation that could be. I don't think the Jets are, looking at too many people strong. If they do go O-line, I like Darnell Wright. I like Dwayne Jones, offensive tackle. Like I said, building their O-line is going to be important for whoever their quarterback is. So if they don't go O-line here, I definitely see them trading this back. So I'll say that.
So next we got New England and the next best edge rusher. Just because New England likes to grab these kind of defensive edge rushers, good players. I think Lucas Van Ness. He's a good rusher. He's a good linebacker. I could see New England. It just seems like a New England type of pick. That's what I got at 14.
I like the position, different player. I like Miles Murphy to go here. Okay. This is where I like him to go from Clemson, edge rusher. I do like the pick. You said it, New England. always securing the defense up. Defense was
Right.
kind of atrocious last year. I like them to go there with defense at 14. At 15 here, we got Green Bay. This
Yeah.
is a this is a
Well, just how
this
I
is
had
interesting.
it is interesting, and just how we just had I said about Rodgers and Levis and Green Bay. Well, it's going to get weird because I think Green Bay is going to grab a receiver here. Number one receiver off the board, Jackson Smith from Ohio State. And Rodgers is going to watch that happen, and he's going to be PO'd that the team that he wanted to draft a receiver for all those years finally does it after he leaves. And that's just how the world works. So I can see that happening right here at 15. What do you got?
I like them to go get a tight end here. Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame, the best tight end in the draft. I mean, they just need something that Jordan Love can rely on. You know, a receiver for Green Bay in their organization tends to not work out, and they usually don't draft high. So I like Michael Mayer here. And number 16, this is where we're going to conclude. We're not going to do the back half. We'll just mention some points that we think. But 16, Washington Commanders. I think these guys have to go get a defensive back. I feel like this is a perfect spot for a Devin Witherspoon. This is a perfect spot for Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M. I think their D-line will be healthy. If their D-line is healthy this year, that'll be a great thing with Chase Young coming back. They believe in their guy at quarterback from North Carolina, Sam Howell. And so I think, and they got weapons at receiver for days. So I think they go defense here. They go defensive back. Devin Witherspoon, great pick here. Not too big on him crazily. Is a hard hitter. Will lay some wood, but I don't think that he's as good as a cover corner as Gonzalez to me.
Okay, real quick, just a couple of guys that I think will go places for these last 15. I think Cincinnati at 28 will grab a tight end. I think that's where they will get Michael Mayer, and I think that will replace Hayden Hurst and whatnot, and give Joe Burrow another pass catcher and make that offense more incredible. And then at 31, I can see Kansas City going with Zay Flowers, possibly the best wide receiver out of this draft. He could be. He's moving up on a lot of draft boards, and just so talented. And he just had a private workout with Mahomes and the Chiefs, and that just happened last week, and that was just called. It was like out of the blue. They called him. They wanted him to come down and catch some balls from Mahomes, and yeah. So I think that probably went well, and that's where the Kansas City gets him.
It will be interesting to see a couple of teams here. Obviously, my Pittsburgh Steelers, see what we do. 24. The Jacksonville Jaguars have not been 24 in the last 10 years. That says a lot. Last 15 years, they have not drafted in the 20s, which is a good thing. So It would be definitely interesting to see what they do. Kansas City, I'm interested in what Kansas City is going to do. Zay Flowers is one of my players that I'm interested in to see where he goes. There's been potential that he could go to my Pittsburgh Steelers. He could go to the Kansas City Chiefs. I did see that. Interesting to see what, as always, them boys in that Lone Star State, them Dallas Cowboys do at 26. Will they trade back? Will they solidify some old line issues? And then for me, as always, see what the Minnesota Vikings are going to do. There's been a lot of talk to see that Hendon Hooker could be the next quarterback for them after Kurt's, contract and whatever. So it'll be interesting to see all that. I just think this draft is full of what we have concluded, and we made this the theme of this draft. It's a mystery. It's like the mystery van, the Scooby-Doo mystery van. You don't know what's going to come out of there. So we're very excited about Thursday, man.
Definitely. Well, that closes us up. That's our show. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for watching. I'm ParlayHunter.
LifeofDGreen. Tune in to us as always to BroBro Media Group, BroBroBets, and hey, we got BroBro Spotlights.
Hey, coming up.